Hello and welcome to a Wednesday Hobby Hangout, really. I suppose that's what it is. Although we've got a couple of things going off tonight, and thank you for everyone for joining us. I've just realised I've closed the chat down, so I don't know what anybody's saying, but we'll catch up with that in a second. I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm doing a lot with my rural connection tonight. So I'm hoping it kind of holds together and you guys can still enjoy a show. But if we're getting any problems, let me know. But with the slight caveat, I have very little idea what I could do about it, to be honest. There is an echo, says Furious George. Why is there an echo? I know why. Has that echo gone now, Furious George? Has that gone at all? I'm hoping so. Phil, your sound sucks, says Furious George. Let me know if that is working, because I think I'd got two microphones running there, and that's what's probably done the damage. Hopefully that will resolve next time. Okay, I need to have a think about that. Oh no. Right, okay. The people aren't going to be able to hear me if I do that. And there's going to be an echo if I don't. I've got an idea. I think I know what I can do. So we can work that out, I hope. Ugh, it's never going to work, this, is it? It's fixed the echo at least, so there's a good sign. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen when I turn that back on. But we will see. We will see. Okay, doesn't really matter. We're going to do our best tonight, and we've got a bunch of people waiting in the wings for the show. We'll do what we can. If it all starts going terribly wrong this time, we can just cut some of the people who are waiting patiently on Google Hangouts and try the show without. So I've just seen them all laugh in the corner of the screen there at that as well. Okay, let's see what we've got going off. Who's in the chat? Well, Karanis was in there nice and early. Alt Boys has joined us as well. Steve is in there, but Steve's also on Google Hangouts as well, so that's a little bit confusing. Sean is in there. Sean is saying morning, everyone. Well, it's evening for us, but good morning to you. Coleman's in there saying, hey up, checking in. Probably be back for the show, so you might be there, you might not be. I'll check in a minute. Wolfgar is in. Fellhate is saying hello. Hey, Fellhate, how you doing? Have we posted your stuff? I think no. Oh, it's coming in this week, so we'll be able to get your stuff to you soon, Fellhate, I'm hoping. Right, what else have we got going off? Homish is in there saying hi. Retep 1001 is saying hello, everyone. Graham Rigg is saying good evening. Zelwing, finally more options with Death Armies and more power to Nagash. I'm sure Steve is going to want to talk about Nagash at some point. He's sat there pretty excited about that. Okay, we've got Geeky GMT saying hey all. Tommy D is joining us and saying hello. Paulos is in there as well. Big Mac Danskull, what a stroke of luck. I stick on YouTube just as you're about to go live. Well, welcome Big Mac Danskull. I'm glad you consider that good luck. I'm not sure. We'll see how well our luck lasts during this show. What else have we got? Paul Collier is in there saying good evening. Nagash is beautiful, and in the 80s, 90s, and 20s, and powerful. Well, there you go. Then I've hit the block of echo warnings. John Booth is saying hey. There's a load of people saying lol Phil, mute the stream and all that lot. So that wasn't. Hold on a second. I'm wondering if that's what is going off actually as well. No, I definitely got that muted. So. It's something to do with the Hangouts, which is only a wee concern. That's a wee concern. I'm not quite sure what's causing that. We'll find out when we actually switch the Hangouts back on. A lot of people saying sound sucks, broadcasting from a well, all the rest. Hopefully, echo gone. Echo gone. Evening Phil says, where's AD? Have I missed anyone amongst the echo gons? I don't think so. Katetsu's there. Well, that sounds better. Hey, Katetsu, how are you doing? Tommy D's in there. Could you please talk louder? My air compressor is on. Well, I'm not sure I can tailor the audio just for you, Tommy, because I'd deafen everybody else, but I shall try. Rogel Dawn is in. Well, it's great that he's been released because he's managed to join us in the chat, although I'm sure I recognise that thumbnail. I think that might be somebody else who's chatting. Huvar is in there as well, and Garbis is saying hi from Norway and evening from Armenia. There you go. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Billy Lynch is in there. Hi guys, I'm in for this one. Awesome stuff, Billy Lynch. Kitetsu saying hey guys to everyone, and one Spaz11 saying made it live. Sean is saying hello from Australia. Johan is saying hi from Sweden. Oh, we've got a big crowd in tonight. That's amazing. I'm really, really surprised by that because we've not done a Wednesday show for some time. But the stars have aligned tonight, and we said, why not? I think there's a few things that are drivers for that. I really need to make the most of my hobby time. So I'm meant to be really, really working hard right now and working on my Fyreslayers. So there they are. Look, they are, you know, half sorted Fyreslayers. So I thought, I know a good way of keeping motivated on Wednesdays while I get this army ready for the tournament is to do some hobby hangouts. I'm not sure of the wisdom. I have to say I'm questioning my own wisdom now, partly because instead of hobbying, I'm doing a show, and as ever I'm getting hooked by everybody commenting on stuff in the chat. Scott says, hello from the US. Hey, Scott, how are you doing? Right. Okay, what have we got to talk about tonight? Well, we've got a couple of things to talk about. First and foremost is I want to introduce Luke, and I've got to try and work out whether I can bring Luke up. There we go. Hopefully that brings Luke up. There you go, Luke. There you go. I'm going to have to tweak your camera. It's bound to happen, wasn't it? But we got a little bit of creeping in the edge there. I'm not quite sure. We've really messed it. Oh no! There we go. There we go. We got the rest of the backdrop in. So this is Luke, and Luke is going to be working with us at WGO and primarily providing a new feature to the website, which is great news. Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, super exciting.
Luke, do you want to spend 5 minutes kind of introducing yourself? 2 minutes introducing yourself. We haven't got 5 minutes. So what are you into really? What are your big things?
Okay. So gaming ever since I was a wee lad. Mainly brought up on RPGs and then Warhammer at a later date. So I had a Nurgle army for a bit, and then Night Goblins. Now Moon. Yeah,
that'll do. That'll do.
Night Goblins,
Mooncladdy things,
and really heavy on the fanatics, on the squigs, on having that kind of randomness in order to kind of combat gamers who think about loads of strategy. And I thought the best way to combat strategy is just go completely random. It surprisingly doesn't really work, but it was an interesting thought. But yeah, I'm also a big board gamer at the same time.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that when we met, we got chatting about game theory more than anything, wasn't it? That's what kind of occupied us more than anything, and that led us to think, well, that's kind of a cool thing we can kind of add to the website. So what I want to show you next, again, we're testing our technology here, so I'm hoping everybody can hear okay. We are going to, let me see if we do this. Look at that. Is that working? We've got like a little bit of view there, haven't we? That doesn't work, does it? That's not worked, does it? I tell you what, give me a second. Let me just see. I think we're just going to have to move you like that, look, or that. Oh, dear me. We're going to have to crop you a little bit. We've got something in the middle of the way. Let's put you down there, Luke. You can be down in the bottom corner. Right. Okay, then. What I wanted to have a quick look at then is quick look at the Wargamer Online website, and you fans of the website will notice that amongst the top here, amongst the videos, there are now WGO blog posts. So how deadly are Bloodthirsters? Yeah, which I think is the first article of many, basically, isn't it?
Answer very.
There's a new section in the top bar there as well. You will see there's WGO blogs. So if you click on that, it will take you into blog postings. And I'm just going to do this. And as I said, I'm testing my technology a bit, so please be patient. Here we go. We can see the first of many, how deadly are Bloodthirsters. And it appears just like a video, but you'll notice at the top it says it's a blog post. I might put a little graphic in the top corner just to let people know this is a text article, if you like, and not video content. And if we jump into the article, there's a great article. I'm not going to spoil it all. People need to dive into this because you've done some work, haven't you? You've looked into the different types of Bloodthirsters. Do you want to talk a little bit about the article and why you did it?
Yeah, so leaving aside the fact that I just like analysing things. So the idea being that there are so many different kind of demons out there. There's so many variations on the same kinds of demons that I wanted to try and figure out which one was ultimately the best one. Which, you know, again, no spoilers. But in order to do that, it took quite a lot of maths, quite a lot of kind of practice rolls, those sorts of things. A lot of spreadsheets. But eventually, you know, figured out a demon that would be my preference, at least. But you're going to have to go into the article and read it in order to see who that is.
There we are. I've popped you along into the little corner now. So while you did that, I was doing some live editing of the tiny Luke.
Skillful.
Which means you're not occupying the whole screen. So we've got all sorts of things here, comparisons in terms of wounds suffered. We've got comparisons in terms of the maximum melee wounds dealt in a turn, those kind of things. It's a great article. As I said, I'm not going to spoil it all, but I do just want to talk a little bit about the features. First and foremost, great, we're welcome to comments. And there we go. Graphs from Coleman. Pretty impressed at your graphs already. There's us two talking to each other, which is really nice. I think the other thing to note as well is there's a little link here. You'll see that the article is also published as a forum topic. So if you click on this, it will pop you along to our forum and it appears in the forum. And it doesn't really matter whether you comment on the article or whether you comment in the forum. All of those things get put together. So there you go. I really am just testing my machine now, so it's really struggling to scroll. Maybe I'll grab hold of that. But as you can see, those comments are also appearing in the forum. And there's Coleman getting excited about graphs. There you go.
Who doesn't love a graph?
Well, who doesn't love a graph?
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, that's it. That's what we want to introduce you. Look out for lots more blog content coming from Luke. He's going to be diving into stuff. If you want to leave a comment, either on this video, at Wargamer Online, so I can see it, anything you'd like Luke to look at, anything you'd like him to bend his unquestionable intellect when it comes to gaming theory. You will probably see Luke as well, maybe on some battle reports, certainly on some skirmish games, I think.
Yeah,
I think
definitely,
you're
definitely.
kind of more into the fast turnaround game, and we might be doing a few other things. We've talked about maybe doing a bit of X-Wing or something like that,
Yeah.
haven't we? But
Yeah, potentially.
maybe. We'll see. But primarily this is about the blog content and also the stuff that you see getting into the forum as well. But we are hoping, I think you're planning on maybe coming along to the tournament as well at the end of March. That's correct. So people will be able to meet Luke and argue with him about what he's written. And I mean, the problem is with any content like this is we were already talking about this. Some of this has actually been updated before between writing this. So, you know, there may be things that have changed, but that's the great thing. That's the great thing about the forum. That's the great thing about the comments. Comment on it, what impact it's had on the game. And who knows, some of this stuff as well will end up as video content as well. So there you go. Enough of Wargamer Online and enough of Luke. Luke is going to be with us for the rest of the night in the Hobby Hangout. I'm going to attempt now to bring up everybody in the Hangouts. So we'll see who's with us tonight. Before I do that, actually, let's just check on the comments and see what's going off at the moment. Thordalim is saying good evening, and so no YouTube notification when you went live. Well, I'm sorry about that. I had enabled it. It was meant to warn you at least an hour in advance. So apologies for that. They are incredibly unreliable. As soon as I created the show, I was checking. Everything had gone okay, and on my desktop it was saying the show was going live at 9 p.m. UK time, and on the video page itself it was saying it was going live at 1 p.m. So YouTube is just dodgy as hell for that, I'm afraid. So we do our best, and if people can make it along, that's absolutely wonderful. Right, what can we do now then? Well, I think I've got some hobby to do. So without further ado, I think we need to introduce the people in the chat. Now, this is the careful bit. I'm going to have to do some balancing because clearly there is something going wrong with echo. I'm hoping that maybe it was echo coming through from one of the viewers, and I've noticed that one of the Hangout people, but they've all put their headphones on, so maybe that's fixed that issue. We'll give it a try. Give a shout if we get the crazy echo again. So right. Here we go. I'm going to bring up the Hangouts. You'll notice little Luke is still in the corner there. You've probably just got that nickname now permanently. So in the chat tonight, we have Steve. Say hello. Okay, let me know if that chat is working. That didn't work actually, Steve. let's try that now because I hadn't turned your mic on. Can you say hello again?
Hey guys, how we doing?
Okay, so hopefully that's working. Ralph, do you want to say hello?
Hey peeps, how is everybody?
So Ralph's in the chat as well, so hopefully that's working okay. And I think also somewhere behind Great Unclean One is another Great Unclean One. How you doing, Liam?
I'm doing fine.
Okay, great stuff. Right. Like I say, if everyone can let me know from a chat point of view, has that absolutely ruined the audio or not? We'll see. Let me know what's going off, and hopefully, I'm really worried the chat hasn't updated for a while as well. So somebody let me know the chat's still working, because I'm getting quite worried at the moment. Okay, nothing's happening. Right, okay, maybe we should go through, work through the chat, work through the Hangout, and what's everybody working? I'm going to say what I'm working on first. I've got a whole bunch of Fyreslayers, and I've got to go through and mount their little throwing axes onto their waists, because I want my Fyreslayers to be armed with throwing axes. I'm a big fan of WYSIWYG, so I need to go through and glue little tiny throwing axes onto little tiny dwarves. That's what I'm working on. And audio is fine, says Wes AD. So, right, we're getting a comment that the audio is fine. So, hopefully, Luke, can you hear them okay? Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Say something, Liam.
I'm saying something, Phil.
Yeah, we can hear you. We got it.
Okay, right. Ralph, what are you working on tonight? Are you working on any... I know there's things that you're working on you can't tell us about, and how exciting is that anyway, but... Carry on. What are you working on?
Well, apart from that, I'm still trying to get those prosecutors together that I've been working on for ages. Got to a stage where basically they're all, don't know whether that shows up or not.
Yeah,
but,
I know. I can see that.
They're pretty much done. Just need to put a couple of finishing touches on them, glue them together, and they're good to go for the club on Sunday. And then I'll start hitting the corn.
So, how many of those prosecutors have you done?
In total, there's 9. So I'm planning to use them with 3 units of 3 on the table, but we'll see about that.
Awesome, and they're beautiful. And if anybody hasn't seen them, check out the Wargamer Online Community Facebook group. There's some beautiful photography of them on there, and I think you've posted a bit on the forum as well, haven't you?
To my great shame, I've started the project blog. I haven't updated it for the last 2 weeks because I've been really busy. But it will happen as soon as that's done.
We probably should introduce you, Ralph, because obviously you do pop up on the chat on the live shows, but you are also one of the moderators of the forum as well. So I should mention that as well, aren't you? You're very active on the forum, and you do a wonderful job for Wargamer Online in terms of keeping everything in order. So a public thank you for that, Ralph.
More than welcome.
Okay, Liam, what are you working on at the moment?
Rotagus and some Nurgle stuff for the tournament in March.
So casual, so casual. We're going to go to the tournament. Liam's coming along to that. Obviously, you're playing Nurgle. Who are you teamed up with?
I'm teamed up with Amit.
Amit, right, okay. Who would be known for most people as Acharya on the chat. He would be on the chat with us tonight, but I know for a fact he's currently moving, or in the middle of moving. So I seriously doubt we can expect to see him tonight. I think it would be quite a miracle if he was to make it online tonight, and nor do I expect him to. Okay, right, Steve. How you doing, Steve? I think Steve's frozen. I thought you'd frozen then, Steve. I thought you'd frozen. You seem to be a little tiny static thumbnail, but there you are. You're back. I'm good, mate. I'm good. How's things going with you? Nothing exciting happening for your armies at all at the moment, is there?
No, well, there's nothing exciting happening on my project table at the moment, but I do have the nice Legion battle tome that's about to be released, which I'm rather excited about.
Yeah, so you're all about the death. I was being a little bit sarcastic there, I have to say. You're all about the death, and you don't mind a little bit of 30k as well, which absolutely chuckled me tonight, because you must be the only Imperial Fist player in the world who hasn't noticed the announcement on Rogel Dawn. Is that about right?
That is right. It went completely under my radar. I think I've been focusing so much on the new battle tone for Nagash and all that the first time I saw about it was your thumbnail for the chat this evening. So I got very excited very quickly.
Yeah,
and it was good that you had it on the thumbnail because it was a good job I found out about it on the thumbnail because if I in the chat, I'll probably be squealing for joy right now.
It's a great looking model. We're going to bring that up on screen at some point soon, and we'll have a look at that. I'm pretty certain that's not a throwing axe. It looks like the eagle from the Muppet Show. So I'm guessing that's not a throwing axe. Okay, right. Let's have a little catch up on the chat and see what we're up to. We have got Thordalim letting us know the chat's still working. Bless him. A few people telling us the audio is okay, so I've no idea what I did there, but there you go. There's a strong beard/no beard divide in the show tonight. How many beards to no beard ratio have we got? We've got actually, you know what? This might be unfair to Ralph. Ralph, are you sporting a beard at the moment? I can't tell from your tiny thumbnail.
No, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm sporting huge goggles. That's bad.
That's a solid look, Ralph. I'm loving it. That's goggles made for camera. Okay, so the beard.
Listen, I gotta somehow make up for my age.
I have to say, I confessed earlier to owning a pair of those and needing a pair of those. So there you go. I've certainly reached that stage as well, Ralph, where I haven't got the laser eyes that Sam has, where he can, spot a model from 700 yards away. Okay, let's carry on with the chat. So the Beards are winning on a 3-2 score. Acharya has joined us. So hey, Amit, how you doing, mate? Hey, well, that's going to be like 20 seconds before he can reply to that. So I forgot he wasn't on Hangouts. I'm so used to chatting to Amit on Hangouts, I forgot he wasn't there. Amit, we'd love for you to join us on a Wednesday show at some point in the future, but I didn't ask. Well, actually, I kind of did ask you tonight, but you didn't reply. And I absolutely understand why, because I think you sounded pretty stressed in the middle of your move as well. I want to know whether your arm has gone on ahead of you or you've kept them on your person. So there's a whole bunch of comments on facial hair. A bunch of people saying hello. Gabriel says hi also. He's joining us. Infamous Maximus says the goggles do nothing. Little hint, little dig at your accent there, Ralph, I think.
Do I have an accent? I doubt it very much.
I haven't spotted an accent at all. I dare say, certainly you speak better English than anybody else on the chat right now. Defimus Maximus says they do magnify. Steve says, anybody else in Warhammer World for the tournament? Hey, Steve, you could have said that. Say it out loud.
I didn't want to interrupt your dialogue. You're doing quite well there, so.
Right, okay. I tell you what we're going to do, just so I get some chance to stick on some axes, which is a really important part of what I'm going to do. Steve, I tell you what, you've been reading up on Legions of Nagash. You've been looking at the what's going off on the Warhammer community. Is that fair to say? I think it is.
I have been watching it very closely.
Okay, so if I bring that page up, what's caught your eye? What's getting you excited as a deaf player while I stick axes onto dwarves?
Okay, there's a few changes. One of the most notable being the way that banners work. I mean, in the current system, units with banners can resurrect fallen models. So a unit of zombies can resurrect D6. And a unit of Black Knights can resurrect D3.
Is that like at the end of the turn, or hero, or phase, or when does that kick in?
It's in the hero phase.
Right, okay.
So what they've done now is banners now do -1 to enemy bravery.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you team that with the Banshee and the Terrorgeist, it means it makes their screams a bit more effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a double-sided blessing, that from my point of view, because there's a lot in the game immune to battle shock. I think it's going. From my point of view, anytime I see, and I think this applies to 40k as well. Anytime I see anything that's to do with leadership or bravery, I kind of you know, consider it quite situational. I mean, what do you think to that? You know,
It is very situational, and there is a lot of formations and characters now that make their armies immune to battle shock.
yeah.
The only good thing, I mean, the scream that's done by the Banshee and the Terrorgeist, it doesn't matter if you're immune to battle shock. It goes on your base bravery, and then if you get the -1 modifier, it just makes it easier to cause mortal wounds to your units.
Okay, gotcha. What do you guys think, Liam? You worried about that?
Nah, I'm a local player. I'm not meant to be hitting people. I just sit there and take it like a potato. Just another army.
What Nurgle does best.
You do worry me sometimes, Liam.
Ralph, you're sat there with some Sigmarites. What have you seen in the Legions of Nagash? Have you seen any of it yet?
Not yet. No, I haven't got it yet. Didn't get the chance to. Well, didn't jump on the bandwagon yet.
Yeah.
Planning to at some stage, but not right now. I'm just concentrating on my golden boys.
They did really well in the tournament scene, didn't they? At LVO, is that right? I'm thinking. I'm pretty certain that Stormcast were certainly present in the top 5, weren't they? And did they win? Did Stormcast win this year? That's one for the chat. Surely somebody out there who's watching this show. So. I've got a feeling
Stormcast won.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the top army was the Stormcast army that didn't take any formations.
Wow. So just on unit choice. Wow. Okay, Steve, what else have you seen on the Legions of Nagash I'll tell you what, you do that, and then we'll have a quick look at the chat and see if anybody's saying anything about it as well. We'll bring it up.
So one of the new abilities, which has been given to most of the heroes, is this Deathly Invocation. And that reads, at the start of your hero phase, pick up to 5 different friendly summonable units on the battlefield. You can heal D3 wounds that have been allocated to each unit you picked. Roll separately for each. Allocated to unit you picked, you may instead return a number of slain models to it that have a combined wounds characteristic equal to or less than the roll of a D3. And it does state that this ability stacks.
What?
Heroes. So if you've got enough heroes, you could. If you got 3 heroes in range, you could bring back 3 D3 models to 1 unit.
That's massive.
Yeah.
Can they be monstrous models?
It's
say Vargeist.
It's got to have the summonable keyword. So, I mean, I haven't gone through all the War Scrolls yet to see which units, but I'm guessing it's going to be your bog standard skeletons, zombies, Graveguard. I'm hoping Blood Knights are in there because they used to be able to return, but we'll see.
Even so, that's the right kind of summoning, isn't it? You know, if I look at some of the Sylvan powers, you know, I can summon units, and the crazy thing is some of those are driven by sort of D6s. So, for instance, on one of them, I can bring in 2D6 dryads, which in a match play scenario is just utterly useless to me. You know, I've got to pay for the 2D6 worth of models first and foremost. And then obviously if I roll a 2, I'm in a bit of a rock and a hard place in terms of what do I do with that unit, you know, because of course in match play I bring 2 models on, I'm still paying for the full unit as far as what I've just brought on in terms of reserve. So there's some rules that sort of kind of predate the reorganization, if you like, of match play, whereas obviously what you've got there is something that still works very well within the match play mechanic, doesn't it? You know, you're safe there. This is about replenishing models, and therefore you're not paying any additional points for them. Yeah,
it is good, and there is something else as well that involves grave sites, which I'll talk about in a bit.
Okay.
But, there's an ability that just came out of the Legion of Sacrament, where if I destroy an enemy unit, I can resurrect an entire destroyed death unit.
I not pay the points for it? Does that not count as a reserve? I know you're resurrecting it, but
I didn't read anything from that. But it's not a new unit to the army. It is an old unit returning. I haven't seen anything to suggest it has to be in reserves. I could be wrong.
I mean, it's a tricky one, of course, because if you take the sort of match play rule of, say, a Lariel, or that I was playing against Patrick with Durthu, and I'd gave him the Gift of Gyron, where you come back with D3 wounds. And of course, it was only at the end. I never used it, fortunately, so it didn't actually have an impact on the game. But, of course, we realised afterwards I would have had to pay for Durthu twice to be able to bring him back. So again,
yeah, I mean, the old Ring of Immortality. It used to be when the model was slain on the 2-up, it comes back to life. They've now reworded that, so you don't have to pay the reinforcement points. So the Ring of Immortality now works just before you take your last wound.
Yeah.
Roll a dice on a 2-up, you heal D3 instead of die. So
which is a major difference, isn't it? That's great.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I know, Ralph, you mentioned earlier you was hoping that there was some retro love applied to one of your armies as we were talking through some of this.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a building Seraphon army, and the battle term is actually quite dated. It was one of the first. I think it was the first one that came out actually after the initial Stormcast release.
Yeah. And
in terms of synergies, not much has been done. GHP 2017 didn't change much there either, or nothing really. And they become, it's a force that becomes a bit dated with the last 2 or 3 Battletome releases that have been out there. It becomes a bit dated and more difficult to feel it on the table. I mean, I've had a game the other day at the club that against Khorne actually. That I would have, it would have been much easier to play before the Khorne release about 6 months ago, but because the Khornes were updated, I didn't stand a chance, and that was very strange. Yeah,
I mean, it's incredible how quick the meta moves on, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. It's it's painful if you're not playing. Especially if you were one of the first. One of the first battle tomes.
Constantly changing and evolving. To my personal taste, it's geared very much towards match play.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a huge fan of. I'm a big fan of the narrative play. And even open play to some extent, but that's just me. But I think there's a place for match play and narrative play, but unfortunately, GW seem to be going full out match play at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose in many respects the trading numbers speak for themselves, don't they? Engaging with the tournament scene has clearly had a positive impact on them, hasn't it? So I suppose we have to look at it. I'm with you, Ralph. I struggle with the tournament scene. Luke, there's a guy called Luke Morton out there who was big into the fantasy scene, and he called in last night to say hello and ended up staying the night. And we were chatting about my up and coming tournament list, and he's a real sort of optimized list, loves to get everything right. And he looked at my list, and within about 5 seconds, he was going, I'm going to do a Luke impression. You'll love this. He's, nah, mate, you need to change that. You want to get that unit maxed out. Nah, you don't want to do that. That's got no effect in the battle whatsoever. So it's a really bad impression of Luke, but I kind of like doing it. And it's not this Luke, by the way.
Thanks for the clarification.
That's not the Luke at the side of me. It's a completely different Luke. Nor is he a relative, even though he has the same name. And it very quickly became, and he couldn't understand me saying, I don't want to do that because I won't like the look of the army on the table. It will look imbalanced. And, I was saying, these models are really nice. I want to put them in my army. And he was like, yeah, but they'll not win you the tournament. And I was like, I don't care. I want to paint them and I want them to be part of my army, And
you're having fun though, aren't you?
Yeah. And it's interesting that you see that to be absolutely focused on the tournament scene and to be focused on winning. You really are playing a different game to what you probably want to play, Ralph. It's the same rule set, but an utterly different game, isn't it?
Hey, I'm a terrible beer and pretzels player. Give me 5 beers and I'm the happiest Larry in the world, even if I'm being wiped out in turn 1.
That's a huge beer to turn ratio there. 5 beers in one turn. I like that. Right, let's catch up with the let's catch up with the chat and see what people are saying. I wonder if we've got anything around death as we've been chatting about that, or anybody's thoughts on tournament and match play versus open play. Right, Billy Lynch says Simpson reference on the goggles. I possibly missed that. All right. Acharya is saying his army and models have gone on ahead. Some models are still with him. There you go. There's a bit of both. And we've got Zeeling. Apologies for messing your name up. We're doing our best there. I'm going to go with Zeeling. How about that? And but tell me if I've got it wrong. And I'm sure that's wrong, actually. Death Rattle plus Right King plus Necromancer plus Morgash plus Nagash equals total destruction. Steve, does that sound bad?
I think that's referencing the possible combo to get 162 attacks out of unit 20 Graveguard.
Oh, right. We're gonna see some death fun. Do you want to explain that to the guys how you can do that?
Yes, I believe it's a combination of the new. Let me just find it. There's a new Warlord trait which gives +1 attack. There is an ability from the White King, and you can also cast Van Hal's Dance Macabre from the Necromancer on the Graveguard, and it's a total of 162 attacks. That's providing all the Graveguard can get their attacks in.
Yeah, because obviously range always kicks in on that stuff, doesn't it? What is a Graveguard range?
1 inch, which is even with the Great Blades, it's still 1 inch.
Yeah, okay. But still, the possibility exists. If you were to hit a large, let's face it, that to coin a phrase with Luke there, you got to max your units out. We're seeing a lot of lists out there with 30-man units. There's a possibility of actually being able to, okay, if you could get a decent charge and add the pile into that, you're going to get a few of those attacks in,
Yeah, and it's the same with, if you did a similar combination, but with, say, a unit of 60 zombies, you're looking at a hell of a lot of attacks. You're hitting on 2s. If there's a corpse cart nearby, winning on 3s because of the size of the unit. It's going to be immense.
Yeah, okay. Thordalim is just confirming, by the way, that Stormcast did indeed win the LVO. I think that's cool. I like to see them. And I like to see shake-ups at the top of the list as well, so... only last night was Luke telling me that Fyreslayers will be at the top of the tournament list for us for the foreseeable future. Based on I don't know whether you guys have seen this, but maxing the list of Berserkers out to units of 30 and then popping them up with the, you've got a rule with the Rune Smiters where you can pop them up during the game 9 inches from an enemy unit. And then you can obviously get the charge in, and you can also, they've got a 4-up, essentially a 4-up Feel No Pain as well. And a 5-up, which can be boosted to a 4-up save. So you're looking at a 4-up on a unit of 30 that potentially can also be immune to Battle Shock. And you can put 3 of those units, including the leader that you need to do that, into a 2,000 point list and still have space for, a prime or something like that, which has been added into the list as well. So, but it's good to see that obviously that list isn't, if there was anything like that at LVO, it certainly hasn't won the match, has it? So we'll see. Okay, what else have we got going off? Fellhate says, is everybody hobbying tonight? I'm finishing building my GW Fortress of Redemption at the moment. Is that the Dark Angel one? Because if it is, that's an amazing model. Yeah, that's on my hobby wish list at some point. Admittedly, I've got a half-built Dark Angel army, but that's nothing to do with that. I just love the terrain piece, if you know what I mean. It's amazing. Right, we've also got apparently it's Lewing. There we go. We just ignore the X. That saves life. So Lewing, it's time to all the other armies to feel punishment of Nagash. with this new battle tome. Yeah, well, it looks like because Nagash didn't really have a reputation at all anyway before this battle tome came out, did it? But
yeah, Nagash is just that salty old dude, like Sam in the corner, just pointing at Sigmar. Like, stop. Show me love.
How has Def done in the tournament scene? Steve, have you got any idea of that? Have they done all right, or
They're not going great at the moment, I don't think, because a lot of their stuff is very outdated. I believe Soulblight armies are doing the best at Soulblight and Death Battle.
Right. Okay. Well, one would assume we're going to see a change in that at some point soon, aren't we?
Well, I'm hoping me and Mr. Pink teaming up should be able to do something good at the tournament.
Yeah. So we have Pink bringing a gash and Steve just tons of zombies.
Oh, are you both? So you of course you're both taking Def. You're not doing different.
No.
Different Grand Alliance.
Matt Pink is going to go for a shooty Stormcast army, and I'm going to go for a fast-moving, hard-hitting Death army.
Okay,
that's a good idea with the Stormcast.
Yeah. Well, Luke was trying to convince me to do and help me out here because I'm not 100% familiar with the Stormcast range. But is there a prime, a Sigmarite prime, or something like that?
There's quite a few primes for.
What's the great big one though, with the flappy wings and the big swirly whirlpool?
Celestin Prime, I believe.
Celestin Prime, is it? So he was trying to convince me to do a Fyreslayer. Custom build conversion of a Celestin Prime, so a Fyreslayer proxy of the model, and I have to say he half convinced me, and that was nothing to do with the gameplay but to do with the conversion possibility. We're talking about maybe using the body of the Savage Orc, put the dwarf head on top, have flame wings bursting out of its back sort of thing, and then have do you remember the lava base I did for my avatar with the lava and the rock spiraling up? So create a complete Fyreslayer proxy of the Prime, and it's one of those things I was just like, yeah, it sounds like gaming to me, but by the end of it I was actually enjoying the idea of producing that as a conversion, but it's been added to the list of one day, I think. One day, maybe. So,
I just wonder whether the because in the beginning of Age of Sigmar we've had very few shooty armies models. There seems to be more and more of those coming along, and I just wonder whether that's a general trend that they're trying to pick up on it. Don't know.
I mean, certainly shooting in Sigmar is so incredibly powerful, isn't it? Shooting into combat, shooting while you're in combat. It's a huge part of the game. The Fyreslayers have got an axe they can throw. It's got 8-inch range, but there's abilities to up that to 16-inch range. You can get extra throws from it as well. I'm sure there's something that allows you to throw your axe twice in a turn or something, and it's just, you're doing that, and then you're doing your combat. It's just ouch, So, and that they don't have to be combat units either, do they? You can sit them at the back and just shoot away as well, and that's what's so powerful about shooting in Sigmar, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the way of. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I'm hoping now with this new campaign that's looking at death in Shyish and all that we're going to start seeing some Shyish civilian models being made with bows and arrows.
Oh yeah.
The law is.
Excuse me.
The law is the living in Shyish work and fight alongside with the dead counterparts, and there's the book which is Nagash the Undying King. One of the main characters is a female necromancer, and her brother is a white king, or a white. And it's such an interesting thing to see the living and dead working side by side.
Yeah. There's a great bit on the they've done those little stories on the I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name of the campaign because I've got Legion of Nagash in front of me. The
Malign Portents.
Thank you. Yes, and it's a story of a greater Nurgle demon, great unclean one, heading up the lines of death, and they're all shooting at him from arrows, and it describes an archer unit that has a living archer, and then stood in front of them is a dead or an undead shield man. And I just like the idea of that, you know, the thing that's got to take the damage, not just the shield, but the guy holding the shield is this undead warrior, if you like. But then you've got the, you know, the living archer behind for accuracy and, you know, one would assume speed. And I just, as soon as I read the description of that unit, I was thinking what a great unit in Age of Sigmar that would make. Possibly 2 models on a single base, you know, with a shield guy and an archer behind. It'd just look great on one of those little oval bases that they do for cavalry, you know?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to become a thing because it'd be really, really good.
Yeah. And also interesting. Also, I love the idea that there are living people fighting alongside the dead. It's just, you know, what they do there, you know? And it's a nice thing, isn't it? They're not completely in opposition. You can live in the land of the dead and actually be alive, you know.
The vampires have got to feed on something.
It's snack time.
McDonald's.
Okay, what have we got going off in the chat? Where are we now? Fellhate. Paolo says should be painting his 30k Dark Angels, but he's being visited by Nurgle's blessings, so chilling on the sofa and feeling sorry for yourself. Well, I'm sorry about that. There's a lot of Nurgle's blessings going around at the moment, and Sam himself actually was going to join us tonight, but Nurgle has struck him down, and he just, yeah, I think we've got a lot of this. Just can't quite shake it. It's
is that a WGO thing, Phil?
Well, I'm on the mend. I'm on the mend. I didn't, you know, you can't blame me. Although he is blaming me, by the way. He is very resoundingly blaming me.
I feel I should be sat further away.
You should be sat further away. Wait, I can move you further away. Hold on a second. Let's just move you across there like that. Look. And put you back. I don't know whether that works. I don't know whether it works live. I'm assuming it works live. Right, okay then. Sean says I have to finish painting my prime, getting into DOT box they released at Christmas. So what's DOT? Someone help me out with that. Is that the was that the
no idea.
Was that the Nurgle one?
Disciples of Zeech?
Disciples, no, DOT though, not DOZ, but maybe. Oh wait, what am I saying? It is a T.
Is there a...
Disciples of Zeech, it must be. Yeah, well spotted. Well, that's cool. Right, what else have we got? Lewing is saying Morghast can take wounds instead of Nagash if they are close enough and with a new ability, I think.
That is correct. He can now, if his Morghasts are close enough and anyone tries to wound Nagash, he can now put it on his Morghasts instead. The only question is...
Morghasts with what, 6 wounds each?
Yeah, and if you got the right ones, they can ignore wounds on a 5-up.
Oh, cool.
That's nice. That's nice.
That just seems like Death Shroud in 40k.
Yeah. Also, just going to mention it, Nagash now also knows 2 different magic laws compared to the ones he already knows.
Really? What, on top of the ones he already knows, or instead of?
I don't know. Doesn't he?
I don't know if you have to choose one at the beginning, but I believe he knows all 3. There's the standard one which he's got, the Law of Vampires, which is returned,
right,
and the Law of Death Mages, which is a new one.
Crikey.
They've turned him into an absolute tank.
Yeah, just a huge tank. I mean, let's just bring up on screen some of the stuff they were saying and have a quick look at this. So, Steve, we've got the magic in Legions of Nagash. So we've got a power here called Soul Harvest. Casting value of 7. Is this the one where successfully cast enemy units within 3 inches of the caster suffer D3 mortal wounds? Then you roll a dice for each mortal wound allocated to an enemy unit that's not negated, and not negated for each 5+ heal 1 wound that has been allocated to the caster.
Yeah, so it's the Soul Harvest one, and there is something else that's really interesting about this, is you have a chance of this going off twice.
Yeah.
So if you naturally roll, a 9+ on 2 dice. The effects of the spell go off twice, so that's 2d3 to each unit within 3 inches, and you get to heal them on a 5+. Now, for the Mortarks, especially Arkan, who's a bit fragile, especially good because of the size of the model in the base, they tend to get surrounded in combat. So if you cast Soul Harvest and ping everyone and you roll high enough, it's pretty much D6 mortal wounds on each unit.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got this, like you say, the ability to cast it twice, and the fact that this is going to make them incredibly resilient whilst dishing damage out. Anything that's just adding 1 or 2 wounds on can just make a huge difference to the game, can't it? Especially on a 6-wound model, it can just keep them around a turn longer, can keep an objective under contest a turn longer. That's the thing, isn't it? It's all about board presence and having more units on the table for as long as possible. So interesting stuff.
One of Death's issues before this book was their ability to dish out mortal wounds, and Spirit Hosts could do it on a 6. The Terrorgeist Scream, and that was mortal wounds, but there wasn't much. They've now got these abilities to do it. They've also got spells, and they've also got this artifact called the Amaranthine Orb. I believe I said that right.
Amaranthine Orb. I've got this on screen now.
Yeah, so another spell. So you cast it on a 7. You pick a point in the battlefield within 12 inches and draw an imaginary straight line. And each unit that line goes over takes, on a 4+, takes D6 mortal wounds.
Yeah. That's big.
That just makes me scared.
Yeah.
I think I might just have to move slightly to the left when that happens.
It's one of those things, if you get it just right, you could have one of those things where as I say, the stars align, and so do all your units, and then that's horrible. That's a lot
I think I'll just go straight to the fridge and get some beers rather than showing up for the play.
And if you scroll down a bit more, Phil, to a bit that says the Master's Teachings.
Hold on a second, because I was gluing a sword, an axe onto a waist belt. Here we go. Master's Teachings. Whenever an enemy unit is destroyed before removing the last model, you may pick one of your grave sites within 6 inches of that model. Roll a dice, then remove the model. On a 4+, you may pick a friendly summonable unit that has been destroyed and set it up again wholly within 9 inches of a grave site and more than 9 inches from the enemy model. So this is what you were talking about earlier. What the hell is a grave site, Steve?
So there are 4 grave sites. There are 2 in my deployment zone as a Death player, and there are 2 in the enemy's deployment zone. Now, when Nagash could summon units, it was within a certain range. I believe 18 inches off the top of my head, or maybe 24, because I think he got an extension, I'm not sure. Now he can just summon them from one end of the board to the grave site, and they come out the grave site behind your lines. So he could technically summon a unit of 60 zombies 9 inches away from your back end.
That's a drop.
That's crazy.
Seems reasonable.
Okay, this is going to sound... the Death have not only become incredibly resilient and the ability to dish out a bunch of damage, it's also incredibly manoeuvrable. Is there any indication then of what we were talking about earlier in the writings around that? Does that count as a reserve? I'd love to know if there are people out there in the chat. Do you think that returned unit would need to pay reserve points? We've seen the FAQs on anything that describes a unit coming back once it has indeed died. It constitutes as a reinforcement, doesn't it? I mean, meanwhile, your grave sites will be even deadlier thanks to the Master's Teaching, an ability that can turn dead enemy units into fresh reinforcements for your army. They're using specifically the word reinforcements for your army there.
Oh, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I've been looking through Facebook and all that. Everyone's a bit on the fence about how this is going to work.
Yeah,
because it's bringing back a unit that you've already paid for.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll either be cleared up in the book or it'll be FAQ'd immediately. I would have thought.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's going to be FAQ'd right away in February.
one of those that people... Well, we've not seen the book yet, and it might be very clear in the book as well, because this is just a snippet of the rule, isn't it? So,
yeah. And then if you scroll down a bit more, you've got 2 other artifacts.
So this is the Black Gem. Obsidian
Yeah, so
crystal is shattered. It unleashes a raging spectral cyclone that snuffs out the life force of those who feel its chill bite. That doesn't sound bad at all.
Just take a fur coat, you'll be fine.
What does it do, Steve?
So once the battle, if you hear a close, you can declare that you're going to crack it. Pick a point on the battlefield within 8 inches of the bearer. Roll a dice for each unit within 3 inches of that point. On a 6-up, 1 model from that unit is slain.
So it's just slaying, no mortal wounds, just pure slaying.
No, it's just slain. If the unit has any models with wounds allocated to it, then that model must be the model that is slain. So this goes for like multi wound units, all that kind of stuff.
It'd be quite good against like Beast Claw Raiders then, their Mournfangs, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, and also a single monster.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if this dropped by Archeon, and on a 6,
is it a spell?
No,
it's an artifact. Oh god.
It's situational again, isn't it? But it could be powerful. I mean, on a 6-up, 1 model from that unit is slain. If the unit has any models with wounds allocated to it, then the model must be the model slain. But as you said, if that's a single model, pick a point on the battlefield within 8 inches of the bear. It's quite a big bubble. You've got, it's not that hard to get close to someone like Archeon, is it?
There is a double-edged sword with this.
Yeah.
It also affects friendly units.
Okay.
But it's a pretty good weapon against spellcasters, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
You say it affects friendly units though, but it says pick a point on the battlefield within 8 inches of the bearer and roll a dice within each within 3 inch. Unless you're throwing that into combat, and bear in mind you can pick a point. So even if there's a unit in combat, you can pick a point, towards the rear of that combat and still probably, get away with it.
The way I would use it.
Well, I mean, as I
way I
would
would use
basically cannon fodder anyway, right?
Yeah, true. The
Kill a few
fodder.
zombies.
Yeah, exactly. The way I'd use this, I would throw a massive unit of zombies at something big that I want to tie up in combat, get the guy up there, throw it, and hopefully one zombie will die, and hopefully the big monster will die.
Awesome.
Hope
Right,
best.
let's catch up on the chat. Let's have a look. Let me just get the guest cam back there. There you are. Look, we're all back on. We've got Liam's wonderful face on. There you go.
Just
so
joining the Nurgle Horde at the moment.
Joining the Nurgle Horde. Yeah, you're in there with the on the back of the Great Unclean one there. Okay, let's have a quick look at what's in the chat. We're coming up to 10 o'clock. This is tonight because it was a bit of a test show just to see if my bandwidth could handle it and all the rest. We're just going to do an hour tonight, I think. If we're going to do a few more of these hobby hangouts again, get them going again, which is if people like them and want to see more of them. We might kind of just more or less, do a couple of hours or something like that on a Wednesday. So you might see some of the longer shows coming from us. If there's people around willing to hobby and chat away and chew the cud on what's out, that's cool. I think we could do a couple of hours, and hopefully there's a whole bunch of people out there hobbying away as well, and this has helped keep you occupied and taken the mind off the monotony of sticking keys to the belt of a tiny dwarf.
How many did you stick, by the way?
I've done 20 throwing axes and I've done 4 sets of keys at the moment. And there's one dude with 2 throwing axes because I wasn't paying attention, so he got a Brucey bonus throwing axe on his belt. I need to decide whether to take that off and stick the keys back on. I'm not quite sure now. Okay, let's have a quick catch up on the chat. I think there's one last thing I'd like to have a talk out. They've announced, of course, there's a few of us that have got 30k armies out there. It's still very popular, and we've seen the announcement for Rogel Dawn. And I think more importantly, Steve, you like those yellow dudes. So let's have a quick chat about what we think about the model. But what have we got going off in the chat? Coleman says, yeah, my last battle, 20 Knight Volkites, throwing 20 Knight axes. They got one wound through. Well, there's probability for you, as he puts that. Tom is priming Ravenwing and Vets. Nurgling, I would suggest the vampire counts have a whole town full of living victims. Got to drink blood after all. Well, there you go. Indeed. Elster Nation says Elster Nation says he might have to do his Death Army now. Well, that'll take him about probably 2 or 3 nights, knowing Elster Nation and his ability to just pump entire armies out. So good luck. We'll look forward to seeing that. Maybe we'll give you a game with that Death Army, Elster Nation. Lewing says Nagash equals God. And Nurgling, okay, a couple of people saying check out my Dead Semper video series. That's kind of cool. What else have we got? Sean, which Mortark would you choose to lead your Death Army if you had one? Steve, you know the Mortarks. Who's your favourite?
Well, at the moment, my favourite's Manfred.
Right.
But with the new Legions rules that are coming out, I'm on the fence. But I would normally, back when I did Vampire counts, my entire force was always led by the Von Carsteins. Even when they did the different bloodlines from Blood Dragon to the Necrarch, it was always Von Carsteins.
Okay.
And plus my favourite Von Carstein, they don't have the rules for anymore.
Oh. There you go. I think you kind of answered the question in a roundabout way we got there. But Manfred.
Don't choose Archon.
Archon? There you go. I don't know any of them.
Like his little hat.
So I'm just going to go with Archon because of the hat. Thanks, Liam.
Necrarcha's got a good hat.
Oh, wow. That's true, actually.
Yeah, but she's not a skeleton with a hat.
And she's the first ever vampire.
Okay, so Furious George is saying this is the first time he's actually got hobby done while watching the live show. Well, good, because this is a hobby hangout. You know, that's what we're actually meant to be doing. Right, okay. I think that's it. Palos is taking the Nurgles off to bed. Elster Nation, it says, when it's ready, I'll give you a game. Too right, Elster Nation. It's about time we got together. Not seen you for a while. I think we're going to be catching up at ChillCon. I was going to say Chilling Wargamers, but that's your channel. We can catch up on the channel, why not? But we'll also be catching up at ChillCon as well. But yeah, let's do that game. Let's have a quick look before we call it a night, people, of the I've got to remember the name of it. Rogaldorn, thank you very much. Oh, it's definitely one of those nights, isn't it? It's definitely one of those nights. It's the fumes from my plastic glue have just got to me. Okay, so here he is. It's the Rogaldorn preview, and what's not to like about, well, the fact I've got loading incorrectly, but what is not to like about the new Rogaldorn model? I'm going to put this out there. I think that's the best Primarch pose yet. I think I'm pretty certain of that. Steve, this is your baby. What do you think?
It's just stunning. Absolutely stunning. I've been waiting ages for this. And the level of detail in his armour, I just cannot wait to get hold of him and paint it.
Yeah, incredible stuff. The cloak's amazing. The cloak's just one of those things you can have a whole bunch of fun on, can't you, in terms of painting-wise? And the armour, again, this wonderful, intricate detail on the armour is just amazing. We've got some close-up shots. Let's have a look at this. There you go. I mean, given the level of magnification we're seeing there, what's going on with Ralph? Hold on, Ralph. Hold on. I'm going to bring you up because you're not actually on the live show at the moment. There you go. You're back now. No, Liam's taking over. Ralph, say something so your screen pops up.
Oh, that's about the extent of my hobby time I got in tonight.
That's amazing. That's amazing work. Oh man, all I did was stick some keys on. That's it. I've got so much work to do for this tournament. It's insane. I've got less than half the models I'm actually fielding build. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I have ruined 2 Magma Drops this week. I ruined 1. Yeah, don't get me started, Steve. I ruined 1. Thank you very much for your donation, by the way, because that at least solved 50% of the problem. I then decided that I could use the second Magma Drop to help salvage the first one and trash that one as well. So I've trashed 2 Magma Drops. I'm going to wait for the. I've got 2 starter sets coming. I'm going to wait for those arrive, and I'm going to see if I can trash 2 more Magmadroths in an attempt to save the original 2 Magmadroths. But it's a nightmare because all I needed to do was get on with this army, and I've completely fluffed it. So there you go.
Did you melt the second one as well?
I'm not talking about it, Steve. We're not going there. It's such a bad error. I'm not prepared to discuss it online or even offline.
He's totally exploded it. Pieces everywhere.
Put it this way, there's stuff dripping out of it at the moment. That's never ever going to set. That's just that's it. I'm not going to say anymore. Okay, we're back to Rogel Dawn. Incredible shoulder guards, wonderful detail, beautiful bit of work on the cloak. Not 100% sure whether that's relief work or painted on. I think it's relief work because it looks like it's been edge highlighted. And then the relief work on the chainsword is just absolutely stunning. It's beautiful.
I think I might just buy him just to convert him into a Iron Warriors Praetor.
Don't you dare do anything like that.
I was thinking of converting him into just Magnus.
especially Iron Warriors. Do not go anywhere near him with any silver paint. Thank you very much.
Look at this.
Just get Perturabo like hunching on his shoulder, like, "How you doing?" In the middle of an army.
This bolt pistol's amazing. I'm just bringing it up on screen now. It's absolutely fantastic. Lovely master-crafted bolt pistol. And unlike the latest, Steve, why have you done that? I'm going to have to refund you that. You can't just fund my stupidity with Magmadroths, all right? Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, Steve. But that I might have to return that in beers when we get up to the tournament. But thank you. I do appreciate it, mate. Yeah, this bolt pistol, I was just talking about this. In this month's White Dwarf, they've shown the new Space Wolf Terminators, who, when you actually look at the sculpts, the fur looks like they've got worms hanging off them. One of the guns doesn't even have a grip. The hand just hits below the gun. It's just catastrophic. And I think even before White Dwarf made it on the streets, the models have been withdrawn. So we're not seeing any of those catastrophic. They really can't afford to make an error like that on a model like this. But as I've said, I think so far, Rogel Dawn, whether you like the Primarch or not, the model is just stunning. I love it. The dynamism of that pose, even though he's stood stationary, legs apart, sword down, still looks more dynamic than, say, the Gilliman pose, I think. Who's kind of waving his sword.
That's a model you really want to paint non-metallic metal. You don't want to touch any of the bloody metallics on that.
Ralph, yeah, I appreciate the dedication there, Ralph, but non-metallics. One day.
I don't even think I can say non-metallic properly, let alone do it.
Yeah, one day I'll have a go at non-metallic metallic. I kind of consider that as just a bridge too far right now, I think. But okay, right. What else have we got? I think we said we'd talk about that. I said we'd cover it. There's not a lot to say. It's a single model. It's the best one they've released so far. I don't know what everybody feels in the chat about it. I'm tempted to buy it just to put some nipple horns on him and make an extra Magnus model out of it. Liam, you're going to convert it into a Nurgling.
An Iron Warriors Praetor fell.
I'm going to fall out with both of
you. Ralph's just going to do non-metallic metallic and turn it into a Stormcast Prime. Stick some of the Stormcast wings on the back.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, right.
Give him the little like lantern dude's arm, and then have his little helmet. And then give him those Castellans.
Awesome. Okay. It's 10 past 10. Oh, sorry, go on, Ralph.
There's just one more thing that I wanted to... You were going on about how Steinelres is being pronounced. Well, it's Steinelres.
Yeah, Stindlerres. Yeah, that's what I said. Stindlerres. Yeah, I've been saying that all along, Ralph. Okay, so... Oh, wait. Yeah, I want to show this as well. This was... oh, look at that. See if I can make it actually fit right into the circle. I don't know whether you guys can't see this. So this is a product that Patrick put me onto. This is PK Pro's Incredible Masking Putty. Look at this. I'm going to put the jar next to my head just so you can see the scale of it and the size of it. Yeah.
You mean
awesome.
one of those?
Yeah. Guess what? That's the internet for you. I thought that thing was about 1 inch across, so I ordered 3 of them.
That's daft.
Just like Mickey Mouse, you know. I could mask a real size Rogaldorn, I think, with the masking putty I've got. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's something new for me. It's suspiciously like that sort of putty that came out that I'm sure, you know, you can snap it and then you can kind of slowly stretch it. You know, that I've got a feeling that's, you know, masking putty is just an expensive version of a kid's toy. But, you know,
it is exactly that, Phil. It's exactly that.
It is. It's just that in a really big tin. And it wouldn't be too bad if I'd only bought 1 tin, but I bought 3 of them. So, you know, maybe a tin of masking putty is going to form a giveaway at some point, I think. I better pass one on, really. I can't, unless I'm masking. You know what? I suppose I do have a Phantom Titan I need to do, so you never know. 3 tins might come in handy. Oh, what else is there to cover? Oh, well, let's just a quick reminder. Poor, good old Luke has been sat in the corner there, you know, just chatting away. A lot smaller than Ralph. Let's see if we can. Let's just make him a lot bigger. Look, there you are. He's just in front of everyone. Like there you are, hanging around with Ralph. Look, as his best buddy. Luke has been on the chat with us, and of course, just as a reminder, that was about the launching of the new section. Which, if we go to Wargamer Online, is we're back to the blog, which is also simultaneously content posted inside the forum as well. Check out his article, see what Lou's got to say. There's going to be more coming. I think you're going to aim to put a article a week up. I think
to start with. Yeah. So
expect to see more. If you've got any suggestions, feel free to comment either within the forum or at the bottom of the blog post itself. It will be cool if people engage with that, but check out his content. He's put a bunch of work into that, and I think it's good fun. And it's nice for us to kind of branch out in terms of our content. We've got both text content now, a lot of images inside the forum, people putting up their hobby logs and all those kind of things. So we're seeing a great deal of content starting to build up inside the forum, and it's just nice to have some, you know, additional content onto the Wargamer Online website as well, so you can kind of go along and check that out. A reminder to everyone, thank you very much for the support. Thank you, Steve, for paying for another Magma Drop. Honestly.
We're going to have to get you a babysitter, Phil, to come around and watch you build these Magma Drops.
I was on the phone to Mark because I knew the mistake I'd made as I made the mistake. And I got straight on the phone to Mark and said, I've done this, what can I do? And he said, have you got a bin nearby? And it was just like, oh yeah, I can put it. And he was like, wrap it in a plastic bag before you put it in the bin, though. You know.
I must admit, I think Coleman's hit it on the nose. He's got Phil is turning Magna Drops into Magna Blobs.
Harsh but true.
It's catastrophic. It's catastrophic.
It's ironic.
It's the worst thing. I mean, the only bright side to this. Let me bring the chat back. We're meant to be leaving, aren't we? We're doing a terrible job of ending the show, and Luke's massive again. So let's just move Luke down to there. Like that.
Shall I just my fault?
No, that's okay. The only consolation is I needed more troops. You pay £35 for the troops, or you pay £50 for the start collecting set, which gives you a Magma Drop. So for £15 extra, you get a Magma Drop anyway. And I needed the troops, so it's kind of not the end of the world. It's also not the end of the world because Steve's been ridiculously kind enough to donate to replace them as well. But yeah, I'll put a hobby blog up and we'll put a video up. I'm not sure I'll ever admit to the mistakes I made. They were such critical errors. I don't want to go there. Needless to say, thank you to everybody who's supporting us. Thank you to all the donations we've had. Thank you to our premium members on the Wargamer Online website. Without you guys, we couldn't do all of this. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the show. You know, give it a thumbs up. Let us know if you enjoyed it. If you do, we'll do more of these. I've certainly got a lot of work to do between now and the end of March. So I'm quite happy to do a few hobby hangouts with these guys. They're always good fun to chat to, and you know, as we get into this, we might put a little bit more structure in, but Who knows? Who knows? We never know. Listen, hope you're all having a good hobby weekend. Thank you very much to everybody on the Hangouts. Bye, you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye all.
And thank you very much, Luke. And we will see you again. Probably there might be a Saturday show, there might not. And if not, I'll definitely see you on the Monday musing. See you all soon, guys. Bye. Night.